everybody, it's Holger Mueller here from Constellation Research, here with my fabulous co-host Liz Miller. Hey Liz, how's it going?
It's going well, Holger. You want to know why it's going so well, Holger?
You tell me.
Because I got to see you last week. Like, we all got to actually see each other. Yes, the Women's World Cup is on, so that's why this week is a pretty darn good, entertaining week. But also, last week, we got to see each other at Constellation's annual shindig for all of our fabulous colleagues.
Summer solstice. And we added something new onto the tail end of it, being our analyst relations experience, ARX. ARX. Yeah, we call it that. But, we have some fun. But we had a good time. We got to go to Vegas. We got to see each other. We all got to experience what 117 degrees on the face of the sun feels like. No one cooked an egg, but we were close. And most importantly, what was the most important thing that happened during our most important week, Holger? Be bold.
No, Holger, that's not the most important thing. You got new hair ties. You got new red and black hair elastics.
Of course, here they are in red and black. Yeah, the tweet is out here. Yes.
Come on, everybody.
Hey, red and black. Why red and black? AC Milan is red and black. That's the color of my shoes, not the color of my jersey. Look at this. I'm not even wearing a sports soccer team jersey.
You're not even wearing a soccer jersey. You're not wearing a football jersey. There is something very, very wrong. But you know what, Holger?
Soccer.
It is time for the news. It's summer. There's normally a little bit of a slump, but there seems to be a lot going on. Mainly we're hitting earnings season, so that's silly season for everything. So what's going on in your neck of the woods, Holger?
Yeah, so being in Germany, obviously Germany looks at SAP, Europe looks at SAP. SAP didn't make the numbers. Weakness in cloud, they're blaming it officially to field glass. They're gig economy working things as the economy is slowing down, but we know that behind the scenes the problem is really the value proposition of customers not moving to S4HANA. So, and significantly interesting, no good answer why they spent 600 million more too much on sales and marketing, and I haven't figured out yet why, but we'll see why that happened. But not so good.
Do you think it's around? Like, in all seriousness, do you think that might be around also that it was the quarter where the expenditure for Sapphire happened? I know that there were a lot of kind of new brand activities around that, or does that still feel too much?
SAP traditionally, historically, I don't know for this one, the current Sapphires, makes money from Sapphires. It's expensive to go there. It's 2,000, 2,500, right? So one of the very few tech vendors where it's a profit line, which was publicly known, I know from working there, would make money from the user conference, as to a certain point it should be, right? It doesn't have to be like the whole blowout thing, right? On the flip side, IBM had pretty decent numbers. Growth is slowing down. Got dinged by the mainframe and cyclical. Customers only renew every 3-4 years. A tough comparison from that perspective. Red had shown again, and we see this interesting pattern that standard software is not doing so well. See SAP. They can't explain the value proposition. Whereas building things yourself on top of Red Hat, across the multi-cloud and on-premise if you want, is doing really well in delivering. Super interesting things also in Oracle, right? Oracle's already their new financial year, and they're blowing out all the announcements they didn't want to tell in Q4. Like there's like one thing after the other. No lull. Super interesting, right? Yeah. Super interesting is the HeatWave database, right? The MySQL database has been basically out-innovating every other cloud database, which you wouldn't have thought coming from Oracle typically. But they added, originally it was OLTP, then they added OLAP, then they added JSON, then they added data warehouse capabilities, then they added multi-cloud support, and now they added data lake support, which is super interesting because in the past there was always the OTP fast shiny thing and the slow big data lake, and they managed to do this at the same performance by loading federating the level. So this should give a very interesting different level of insights to companies that for the first time they can ingest their big data and create with their transactional shiny data together. So very interesting insights capabilities coming up with no penalty for the big data side. So check out Oracle MySQL HeatWave. And overall, the innovation record of their team, very small team, is super, super impressive. And basically, all the cloud databases have not innovated as fast, the fast, small, agile startups in the space, right? Which we admire and work a lot with. But kudos to the Oracle HeatWave team.
I mean, I think the thing is, I'm really looking forward to Q3, kind of this H2 motion, certainly from Oracle. it's great that they're doing great in cloud. Of course, they needed to be there. Of course, they needed to innovate and really make some significant moves, with that offering. And I think you were the one that really highlighted that for me the most in Q4 of last year, right? When we did our enterprise awards, and when we kind of dug into that, I was like, okay, this is a really great motion. But now, as we're heading into almost a year from that motion, we're seeing the fruits of that labor. I'm really looking for more motion from Oracle, certainly in the realm of what I do, in kind of where those CX tools, where those commerce tools, where a lot of that sales, service, marketing motion is now reaping the benefits of all of this cloud motion that's happening before it, right? Like, we're getting this great foundation. I love it. I'm glad to see it. But now we need to see those applications that are sitting on top of this rock solid cloud foundation. We need to see those start really delivering value. And I'm not really seeing all of that come together. I'm seeing interesting motion from that. I think SAP and their thinking kind of is a little cart before the horse when you start talking about kind of the cloud motion and you're starting talking about kind of the CX portfolio motion. It was a smart and the right move to kind of tear all of that stuff down and rebuild it with the mindset of selling, servicing, marketing happens anywhere. Like, let's stop looking at these really narrow functional silos. In the same way, they needed to stop thinking about cloud or data being in these like really weird regional functional silos. So, I think SAP, once they can kind of get that cloud motion underway, we'll start to see that acceleration on the CX side of things. Oracle, I'm on the fence. I liked what they did last year, get rid of a lot of the legacy weight, really make these fast-moving, lightweight apps, especially in the space of CX. But now we're kind of in that quiet zone, right, of H1 being all about cloud. I'm kind of hoping H2 starts to push that CX stuff forward.
But Oracle is in the same position like SAP on a different level, right? So SAP is having a customer sitting on highly customized, specially tuned ECC instances, which they have to move to the new software. Oracle has it in the CRM category, right? With the customer sitting on highly customized, tuned to their Siebel implementation. So Oracle, in contrast to SAP, is super happy to keep maintaining with Application Unlimited, also delivers value to them, means gradually getting less, and you pay extra for it. But Oracle is not kicking you off like SAP, saying there's an end of maintenance in 2027 looming, so there's pressure for that. But going to the new CX from Oracle is, of course, a challenge, because you sit on this super rich former market leader Siebel CRM. And of course, companies don't want to give up stuff, right? So coming to a clean core is actually an interesting best of practice part for the new world. And I think the reason for optimism, and you heard that from Christian Klein at SAP, is the AI part, right? Because you need AI to be in the cloud. It has to be in the cloud, and that will move things where I'm even not so happy with the best practice I'm getting for my SaaS package that I move there, right? You see that Oracle doing really well on the AI side for HCM. I'm talking about my coverage area for a second. A lot of announcements, certainly a lot of recycling, right? Because don't believe it, no product head from any SaaS company had generative AI on their roadmap a year ago, right? Nobody.
They had other AI for sure. So,
we were doing the other AI, and now recycle, wash, generative AI, and let's figure out what that means. And a lot of vendors still are not in the public cloud, and they really struggle with the AI side, right? But
I'm already seeing some backlash to that. Like, aren't you already seeing some Gen AI fatigue? Like, I'm already seeing people, especially in CX, right? Because everyone in sales, service, and marketing, they raced forward like, Gen AI is going to be the greatest thing. And so now everyone's like, well, okay, great, I want to do it. But now my IT folks are telling me that our data isn't in the cloud. We're not able to do it. We got what the heck is a container? You're like, there's all these like really hysterical conversations
on the vendor, which is not in the public cloud. So we should mention them, you know who they are, and that's of course a problem because you don't have this cheap compute. Here comes the lucky strike for Oracle, right? Turns out because they designed OCI to be great for databases, that was the job, keep the Oracle database customers, not go anywhere, stop the competition, nobody's competing with them anymore, right? I mean, the complete Waterloo from that, right? SQL Server was a composition, right? And now I can provision the Oracle database in the Azure console. Like the Oracle database shows up like any Microsoft product. So that's an unbelievable
But that's the other player, right?
But that's the
other player that comes in, right? Like, so we haven't talked about Microsoft yet, right? So you kind of like got the challenges that have hit SAP, the challenges that have hit Oracle, right? They're kind of on the same journey. Then you've got Microsoft, right? Microsoft goes out with the big bang of, look at what we did with OpenAI, right? Like, we're going to win something. And then Google comes in and is like, not so fast, right? Like, it's been this really kind of funny thing to watch behind. Yeah.
Coke Bear, I heard an explanation last week. I think you heard it too. I'm not going to say it here because I need to collect some additional data. Why that happened.
Secrets that get said at ARX stay at ARX. So if anyone wants to hear those next year, come by.
It doesn't matter. But the interesting thing is the Oracle Cloud is really good to put CPU to storage, which is important for database performance. We know this for 40 years, right? Turns out that architecture to have this fluent networking capability is very good for AI as well, right? And we see that today. NVIDIA, right, the gold standard for port and so on, puts the NVIDIA AI cloud on Oracle. NVIDIA is running, Larry told us at the analyst meeting already in April, and NVIDIA is running their own Omniverse, right? This massive compute things in Oracle already. So Oracle has something going there going down from the SaaS to the infrastructure service again from that perspective, which is super interesting to see. And we all like comebacks, right? But what's the most cutest thing? Do you know what the NUC is? The NUC? The Network Universal Computer, this tiny little Intel PC, so cute. Everybody loves it. You can put it
need that.
And Intel decides to discontinue it. Big uproar. So Asus, kudos to Asus, keeps the NUC, the NUC brand alive. The NUC has life.
Oh, man. I thought you were talking about the book reader from Barnes & Noble. So that tells you what I was thinking. Listen, in my neck of the woods, I mean, I think the news that's popping right now is certainly, listen, we could spend a whole episode talking about branding blunders. I think we're right in the throes of one right now, or at least we're in the beginning phases of what feels like a bit of a branding blunder with Twitter kind of waking up in the morning and shouting, we're X now, and like lots of things happen. So we're gonna see if we're in the middle of a masterclass of what not to do during branding. See Tropicana, see Quickster for those of us who remember that. So we'll see. We'll probably see next time you and I talk on episode 64. Right, we'll see what happened with that. But interestingly, coming out of the EU, there are grumbles that the EU is going to start to do a deep dive and do a full investigation into the Adobe and Figme deal. And this one kind of always has me head scratching a bit, because I understand regulators, certainly in the US, certainly in the EU, wanting to take a look and saying, hey, listen, is this an issue of a big giant coming in to take out a competitor? What is this? And I think that when you look on the surface, and if you only look at this deal from a headline perspective and from what everyone said on Twitter or X or whatever we're calling it today, sure, like there's a design element that you can design things on Figma and you can design things on Adobe. But what I think is getting overlooked here is the fact that this is about product design, not creative logo designs. Like, yes, you probably could have created a better X on Figma. Like, then you could have, like someplace like wherever you bought the $30 font. But I think that the market that's getting overlooked here, and the market that really runs the risk of being seriously disserviced by this, is the product design folks, because product design is something very specific. It is something that needs specific tools. It is something that really needs kind of bigger, more robust tools than a freemium copy. And all due respect for people who are doing it on the freemium copy of Figma.
Europe does not need innovation in product development, right? So it's better to veto it.
Right.
They are years ahead of both Americans and Asians, so let's put some regulation on it.
Exactly. We can slap some regulation on it and see what happens with ad tech again. So I think that the thing that deserves a second look is actually what this deal is about, not necessarily about what design competitor is taking someone out, because I think we're taking the word design and we're applying it in a very wrong sense here. So I'm really hoping that everyone kind of comes to their senses, because I'm really looking forward to what product design can turn into, because it's a complex task, right? And you need real tools to actually be able to do it. And I think this innovation and this leap forward is a really great one for product design. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed and we'll see what happens. But I am afraid, Holger, that does bring us to the very end of our discuss and debate news hour with each other. Listen, stay tuned, everyone. We got some more videos coming up for you. We've got some good conversations that are going to be happening. Holger is going to be having a chat I understand. And then I'm going to be talking to you guys about my latest report on trends report and what's happening in the contact center. So stick around for that. But thanks for joining us on episode 62. There's more coming.
Hello, everybody. It's Holger Mueller here from Constellation Research, here to talk to you about a new report I have published. It's a trends report and talks about the all-important topic about AI, of course, generative AI. I kick the report off by talking about what are the key requirements for an AI stack to be successful. I came up with a nine-box number of criteria. The most important one, obviously, is what has been driving things to the cloud already. It's all about the elasticity. Keep in mind elasticity both from an architectural perspective, but also from a commercial perspective. The commercial one is less discussed. It means if you don't use it, you don't pay for it. If you use it a lot, hopefully you get value from it and you pay for it more. Multi-cloud is a must, is a second criteria, right? Enterprises need to be able to arbitrage, run in the right place. Who is the best cloud for running certain workload? Data proximity, we talk about in a second, is very important for that as well. So multi-cloud is a must, and kind of like contradictory, the third requirement is all about hybrid cloud is a very likely must. Why do I say hybrid cloud? Is because you may have capacity on site, you may have high performance computing on site, the infrastructure which you want to utilize. Why would you pay a cloud provider if you have that capacity, that horsepower on premises? You want to use it for that. It's very likely a must. It's definitely a must for model execution, because for data privacy, I'm recording this being in Europe right now, you want to run data locally from a perspective of running those models. So hybrid cloud is likely a must, not for everybody, but for most probably. And really key, AI can only be so good as data. The fourth requirement, data management, is really central to the whole part of it. You must be able to move the data, process the data, federate the data, cleanse the data, move the data to the CPU. Super important, because you don't want to pay for expensive CPUs and not moving the data there. Very critical for AI to really succeed. Fifth one is that open source and standard space is really important. Open source is important because open source, frankly, has won in everything infrastructure and platform as a service in the past. Proprietary solutions have not made it. And proprietary solutions are not running on standards, and standards are very important to ensure the portability and the exchangeability, fungibility of the AI work to run between multiple clouds, different operating systems, different form factors. So open source standard base is really important. And then, of course, the ability as a sixth requirement to create models and execute them in different places, right? I call this the liberty of model creation and execution. You don't want to be tied to the same cloud to execute things. You don't want to be tied to, say, on-premise where you need to execute things to run and build your models there because it might be too expensive, right? So liberty of model and creation and execution is the sixth one. The seventh one is there has to be, and I could spend all the video about responsibility and accountability. There has to be some form of accountability. I'm a big fan of documentability, right? Most of what's happening right now on neural networks always morph and learn. That's the beauty of them. So maybe snapshot, be able to say why at that point in time the neural network came to that and that recommendation. I think that's a good start, but some accountability has to be part of it. Of course, eighth, a vibrant ecosystem, too long in Germany, has to be active, lots of partners, service providers. Enterprise can't do this alone. They don't have the skills, have to be in there. Other complementary hardware, software, tech providers, data management providers, a vibrant ecosystem, super important. And last but not least, you as a customer, the ninth criteria, you need to have commercial control about what's happening, so you're not shocked when you get the bill. You can manage your budgets, you can manage your workloads in accordance to it. What are my recommendations on this? Of course, do not wait, right? We probably see the most trevulging, which is one of my marquee words, the most significantly changing technologies of our time of generative AI and AI overall. History won't be nice to those who wait. Then familiarize yourself at least what generative AI does. Look at the skills. What are the skills of your team who can help you with this? Get started with this. You should start pilots. Yeah, like I said before, history won't be nice to those who come late and who doubted this and who were maybe held back by some responsibility and AI ethics. I'm not saying it's not important, but you need to get started. And of course, like with every recommendation, practice commercial prudence. There you have it. My take why IBM's WatsonX is a very attractive, very interesting AI stack to build your next generation applications powered by AI. This is Holger Mueller from Constellation Research. Give me some feedback. Look forward to hear from you. Look forward to discuss with you. Let me know what I miss. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you don't like. Appreciate it.
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for sticking around so that I can talk to you about some new research I've just released about what's happening in today's modern contact center. Yes, it's a lot about customer experience. Yes, it's a lot about selling, servicing, and marketing anywhere. But it's also about some key trends that are about to shake things up. So let me share a little bit about what we're talking about. First and foremost, we're talking about customer experience. That is not something that is just a single function. That is certainly not something that is owned by a single team. In fact, customer experience is, and forever will be, an enterprise-wide team sport. And most importantly, it's a strategy. It should be a unifying strategy, but all too often, we find organizations that really want to own it. They want to keep it in their little fiefdom. They want to keep it in a central location so somehow they can own it and be rewarded for it. The only problem is that our customers, well, they really think that the entire company delivers their customer experience. It's everyone. It's the emails that they get from marketing. It's the emails they get from service. It's the emails they get from sales. In fact, they don't see any difference between any of those things. So CX, not a single function, but certainly a responsibility that's held by everyone. And you know what? The contact center is probably the best example of the front line of customer experience delivery. It's why it's so important. It's why these trends that we're seeing come up are really interesting to watch, but more importantly, they're critical to plan for. The first I'm going to share with you from the report is really about this idea that employee training really needs a reboot. It was okay to train a contact center agent in a very specific way when there was really only one job they did. But now, the modern contact center agent is everything from a technologist to an emotional support agent, right? We're asking our agents, our supervisors, our leaders to do an awful lot of things. So our training needs to catch up. We shouldn't be expecting everyone to change the way they work just to be able to fit the way our systems do. But we also need to be able to train our teams to use our systems better. And you know what? AI is going to be there. It's going to change the way, fundamentally, a lot of our teams work. But have we stopped to train them? Have we stopped to show our agents exactly what could be unlocked because they're using all this data and because they're using all these systems? This is why learning needs to change. So you're going to start to see a lot of things like moving beyond digital adoption. We're going to be really looking at retraining, upskilling, and using new e-learning opportunities to make sure that our agents are learning together and they're learning with our brand. Speaking of AI, though, there is something we have to start worrying about, and that's a little bit of AI fatigue. We're already starting to see it. I'm sure a lot of you watching this are probably already feeling it. Everybody's got an AI. Have you heard? It's amazing. It's going to change everything. And oh, by the way, it may not be here. It's going to be here sometime in the next 6 months. It may already be here now. There's so much of it now. You have to completely change the way you do things. There's so many promises and big overinflated promises that I'm hearing out in the market. I can't be the only one getting tired. In fact, I'm hearing contact center leaders saying, I just want our agents to be better, to feel better, to do better, to feel like they're succeeding. We need to be able to make certain numbers. We need to be part of the growth agenda. We need to be part of the overarching CX strategy. And as more leaders are saying this, they're really starting to push aside some of those big empty promises that we've been hearing for quite some time from AI. The reality of AI, especially with generative AI, is that we can start using AI differently. We can start using those models differently. We can interrogate data differently. We can connect the world of our customer differently. We can connect our customer to our agents differently. And that's where AI really meets, that's the rubber meets the road model, right? But those are the things we need to start planning. Instead of chasing the big dreams, we're starting to see leaders get purposefully driven, focused on where AI is going to make the biggest difference. So if we can battle through the fatigue, if we can battle through the messaging, and if we can battle through some of these new learnings, we're really going to get to a point where the modern contact center is this fresh, new multi-channel, multimodal, multifunctional center of where our customer experience strategy not only meets our customer, but expands our opportunities because of just how well we can get to know a customer through that contact center dialogue. So with all that said, I want to thank you for sticking around for this quick primer on the report. The report is available now on ConstellationR.com. Thanks to some generous support by our friends at Avaya. It is available on Avaya's website as well, free of charge. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me at Liz K. Miller on Twitter or at liz@ConstellationR.com. Now, back to CRTV. Hey, Holger. Hey. Episode 62, done in the bag. You good with it? You feeling good?
Well, very happy with it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for being for the drop. Episode 63 is going to be coming up for you next. That is going to have, of course, the serious journalists, Diane Hinchcliffe and Doug Henshin, leading the charge into news in our next episode. But our next clown car visit is going to be episode 64, and we'll see you then. I'm just going to make strange noises until I feel like talking. Okay, anyway.
Don't visit.
Don't visit. Don't come watch it. Don't bother coming
by. I wanted to say, but I said don't visit, but don't miss it.
Don't visit.
Don't visit.
Don't miss it.
No, there was no P. I said visit. I said visit.
I was like, don't visit. We don't want to see you.
Too much German these days. It's terrible.
German. Oh, that's funny. I miss Clippy. I really
miss Clippy. But isn't this the biggest marketing mistake? Like another one at Microsoft? I mean, Clippy is positive. It could be turbocharged by generative AI. I know that you're temporary, but I would bring Clippy back. The new true Clippy on generative AI, running on OpenAI. Your trusted advisor.
Grammarly. I don't care what you do. Go by Grammarly, slap Clippy on its face, and shove it back into my Word document. I need Clippy back in my life. I love Clippy. Yeah. Hannah's like, what the hell's Clippy?
Ooh, look at you who's playing with a camera.
We're doing the whole CRTV just like this.
Because you have to talk about cosmetics, and there is the wrinkle-free forehead of a woman who's still in her high 20s, right?
This is a non-Botoxed forehead,
exactly.
everybody.
But what is the cosmetic tip now? What is the cream that goes in there?
So anyone who tells you, though, and sells a glycolic acid cleanser that is pH balanced does not understand chemistry. Because an acid is inherently, wait for it now, not pH balanced. It skews towards acidity. So if you pH balance a formula that has an acid in it, you actually dilute and make the acid useless. You just put water on your face then. There's no point.
I was going to joke that the German Datensparsamkeit, saving data is to the point that my face can no longer be clear for protecting my privacy on the show, right? So, Datensparsamkeit. Yeah, Sparsamkeit. Datensparsamkeit, say it. Datensparsamkeit.
Datensparsamkeit.
Right, very good. Not Spaten, because that's either a beer from Bavaria or it's a spade, right, to shovel. So see how German English
for data shovel sounds about right, actually. That sounds a lot more accurate.
That would be build your own German compound word. Datenspaten.
Come here, say hello.
And note the shirt he's wearing. Oh, I have to lift him up. He's getting too heavy.
What's up? Okay, let's discuss this for a second.
Yes.
Team USA. I love them. Mm-hmm. And we've got 4 caps. We're going for 5. Let's see. I got to go buy all new T-shirts, hopefully after this World Cup, because I'm going to need the 5 stars instead of the 4 stars, and it's going to be great. But that first game against Vietnam was so painfully sloppy that I really wanted to just start bashing my head into a wall.
Yeah.
I understand that we're the dominant force in soccer, but you know what? England's hungry. They're pissed. They're coming for get on your game, ladies. I believe that we will win. Come on, I'm here for it.
Right, good to go.
Hang on. No, I got to turn on the do not disturb so shit doesn't start going off in the middle of this.